Hey, it's Software Engineering Student here, and today we're going to be talking about the static modifier. As you might have noticed, static is already used in our main method, but what does it actually mean? So, to best demonstrate, we're going to create a new class and call it animal. As usual, we can create some attributes, which is the class variables. We can do string name, int age, and we can create a constructor, which is like the blueprint to creating our object based on our class. So public animal, it contains the string name and the int age. And we would use this keyword to access our attribute name and set it to the value of the name we're gonna give to our object, and this dot age equal age. So now we could just create an animal equals new animal, and it would be a bear, of course, with the h3. And let's create another one. Animal1 equals new animal, and let's call it a bird. And this should have the age of 2, I think. That's proper. So, for now, these two objects are completely independent. They are not connected at all in any way. They are just an instance of the class. So this is the blueprint, and this is like its own thing. But we can kind of connect them by having static variables. So a static variable is a variable that's not connected to the objects created, but it's connected to the class itself. So we would do static int, and let's just do animal count, and we would set it to a value. So now when a program is run, even before we create these variables, the class create a static variable which is set to 0. And now let's just go every time we create an animal, we would do animal count plus plus, which means increase animal count by 1. So now, first of all, we start the program, run the program. Of course, now nothing happens, but then first the class creates its variable. We create 2 objects based on our class, which each would increment our static animal count by 1. But then to access our animal count, we would also need to create a static method. We do that by doing public static, so access modifier, static keyword, and then we would do a void because it's not going to return anything. We're going to do a get animal count, no parameters for input, and we would set it just to system out print line our animal count value. Yeah, and then we created a static method, or we could just create a normal method, doesn't matter, but we're gonna print our animal count, and I'm gonna show like the basics of the static. So create an animal, increase static count by 1, create an animal, increase static count by 1, and now we would be able to, not by accessing one of the objects, but by accessing the class. We can just do animal with a capital A, which is the class, which is also why it's quite important to create variable names with a small capital letter. Animal dot get animal count. So now by going straight to the class, we can actually get the animal count amount. So we would just run it, and you can see we get 2. Because every time we create an animal, this static variable is incremented by 1. And it keeps incrementing even though these are like different animals, because it's not based on the animals, it's based on the class itself. So that's like the basic understanding of static variables. Thank you very much for listening, and see you in the next episode.